Hi, everybody. My name is Dheeraj Fukan, and I am the CEO of SalesGasm, the organizers of Intrigue webinars as well as Intrigue summits. I'm so happy today that we are organizing the Intrigue webinar on a very, very interesting topic, that is 4 powerful ways to grow by over 4x in 2018. The reason why it's interesting is because we have a wonderful speaker with us on board, Miss Zeenat Quresha. She has been my friend for over 3 years now, and I've learned so many things from her, including uh, politeness. She's very polite and very soft spoken. Plus, she's a master of sales. The way as a matter of fact, she teaches sales to organizations and professionals. And today, I'm looking forward to learn from her, as well as we have a wonderful audience today on board. I talk to my team a lot, and we discuss about why are we organizing these events. Be it a physical event or a web event. And the events were supposed to be a place where people interact with each other, and if they have problems, they can share it, and somebody gives an answer to them. So that's what we want to do at our Intrigue summits and webinars. So we want it to be interactive. So you have a question and answer box right in front of you. You can always post your questions while Zeena is talking, and we will ask that question to her at the end of the webinar. Also, Zeena, as I've already let you know, please have fun during the webinar. We want to keep the atmosphere very casual. A lot of education needs to be shared, but it's also important that you have fun. So without further ado, I'll pass it on to my very good friend, Zeena. Zeena, the stage is all yours.
Thank you, Dij. You're very, very sweet. So I learn a lot from you too. And I think you're a great businessman. And I think there's a lot of things that you can share as well. And thank you for giving me this opportunity. Hi, everyone. Welcome to my webinar and this topic. I'm sure many of you have wealth of experience in business, sales, or marketing from whatever domain that you come from, and would love to hear from you and learn from you as well. And as Deej said, I'm not really a master in this. Well, I have about 20 over years of experience, and in these years of experience, I can say that every day or every month or every time, there's always something new to learn. And it's a continuous journey, and I would never say that I'm a master. And if anybody says that, they're lying. All right. So with that, let me start and let me just share with you 4 powerful ways to grow by over 4x in 2018. I will try to have fun, but I'll try to share a bit of my personal stories or what I observe in the industry. And as Deej mentioned, if you have any questions, do pop it up in the Q&A screen, and Deej will pick it up over the at the end of the session. All right, let's continue. So just a bit of APAC SMA is Asia Pacific Sales and Marketing Academy. We are your one-stop sales advisory and academy partner. We have been recognized in the industry, in Singapore, in the HR space, in government space, and by global industry bodies for some of their work that we have done. And we have been recognized with Management Excellence Awards, and we are also partnering with the government in Singapore to do transition of regular traditional sales professionals to inside sales and digital sales space. So these are some of our stuff, and you can check us out at www.apacsma.com. So let's move on. Good. Let me start with 4 critical stages for growth. I know the topic was about 4 ways to grow, but let me talk to you about the 4 stages first. Let's have the foundation strong. I think that's more key to any business. And it's not rocket science, but some of the elements have really changed the way traditional businesses operate. And I think these are critical foundation for anybody to know. So let me get started with that one. So the first one is, how are you positioned and what are you doing to grow? It even starts, so everybody talks in sales and marketing, everybody starts with, with a funnel. Okay, a funnel view. So they have, and I don't know which stage of sales or marketing profession or experience you have, but it always starts with a bigger engine, like, demand generation piece and stuff, and then, and all the revenue components that cascade down as dollars. But what some of the companies that I've seen is, some big companies are very good in this, but some medium-sized business are not so good in this. So they always, you have to look at how you're positioned and what you're doing to grow. And number one is increasing relevancy is very key. For example, why do someone want to come, why do someone patronize big companies, big brands? And why do they want to even do business with you? If you're a medium-sized company, there must be some differentiation point, right? So for example, big brands, maybe for security and reliability, but maybe for small companies, maybe they are looking at how different are you or your solution, what can I, benefit from, right? So that's, I mean, we can go on and on, but this is a very important point. It sounds simple, but actually it's not. Increasing relevancy is all about your competitive positioning, and there's a lot of depth to it as well. Okay, this is 20-minute webinar, so I cannot go on a lot, but happy to catch up later on, or via email or via Skype, if you like to dig deep into some of these topics. Next one is innovative offerings. Okay, how different are you versus the others? I have this, I don't know how many of you have seen this, and Deej, you may have seen this. There's this sales tools landscape. There's a marketing tools landscape. Have you seen like thousands of pictures or logos of companies that's offering softwares?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Right. So it's like, it's massive. It's massive. Every day there are a lot of new startups, new stuff coming in. And let's not talk about technology, even for business offerings and business services, people are becoming very creative. There are a lot of different services that's being offered. So even when I started my business, I'm into training business, for example. Am I the only one offering sales training? No, there's so many people offering sales training. In Singapore, we have a lot of big brands and big Americans, like American companies and UK brands. The likelihood of Miller Hillmer and Sandler and a lot of spin selling, solution selling, value selling. There's a lot of companies already here. But what makes me different? So I keep thinking about this. There's so many thousands of trainers available there. Why does one want to come to APAC SMA, for example? So we made a lot of differentiation in the way we offer our products, certifications, accreditations. We partnered with global bodies because we kind of try to identify what is that one thing that a student or a professional that's starting and growing their career into sales, or someone at a management level would want in order for them to be successful. So we kind of identify all these different components and offerings, and we made that as key features. So that, I'm not saying that this is the biggest difference, but it does make an impact, because the varied offerings and the kind of education that we provide gives an individual a holistic perspective of sales or marketing. And that's good, because when you work with different frameworks or specific methodologies, they kind of try to focus and sell you their part of strategy or their part of how things should be done. But actually, that's not true, because the thing is, I've learned things can be done in any way. We can take a risk. You can go 1, 2, 3, 4, or you can even write 4, 3, 2, 1. 1 plus 1 can be 2, 1 plus 1 can be 3 or 4, and I have a logical reason behind that too. So there's a lot of ways that people are so traditionally focused on. I think it's not that we have to follow certain steps. We can break the system and disrupt and change the way things can be offered or done. Moving on, market diversification. May sounds like a marketing class or a strategy class, but it's not. It's true, because like I operate in Singapore, and in Singapore that's that much market that you can cover. But by going global or regional, or even expanding your offering to countries that needs this, or even like from training, you can now start offering advisory services or sales application, or sales tools or sales training apps, or it could be anything, right? So how do you kind of diversify both from an offering perspective as well as market perspective, and kind of expand your market customer segment? And new opportunities for growth, is there anything new that I can offer that can make substantial difference? People are talking about digital transformation nowadays, right? What are they really talking about? It's like, how industries are being disrupted, how companies and their offerings can be challenged. We know that a lot of traditional companies have gone out of business. So the lack of response to the speed of how things change, so we take a step back, and we can also look at this from a new opportunities for growth, both for ourselves and to the customer segment that we serve, because customers are always looking for something where, how can I do things differently, or how can you help me um, be different, and how can your offering can help me. I think if you are going to your customers trying to offer that, I think is the first question that we should ask ourselves as well. Okay, what and how can we differentiate, and what are the new opportunities for growth that we can look in for ourselves that can really help our customers? Repurpose investment, this is a favorite one for me, because it's like every year, like I have a budget, and I try to look at, okay, this is something that I've always invested on, but is this something that's going to continue giving me the kind of profits or the kind of revenue or the kind of results that I'm looking at? Or can I use this investment for something else that's going to help me with the 4 items that I just mentioned? For example, kind of help me create innovative offerings, or help me with market diversification, or any new opportunities for growth, for example? Can I repurpose my investment into a new talent, or a new tool, or a new partner or solution that's going to make things different for me this year? So repurpose investment, always look at what you're investing in, what's taking up a lot of your operational expenses today, and how can you repurpose some of this to make it even different for you. And not just operations, but even your sales. I know that people say that, oh, I invest in X number of sales staff and they bring me X amount of revenue. But, it's not about pulling out sales or investing further in sales, but it's more about, okay, fine. If I have 10 staff, if I cut down to 9, will my revenue still continue to be the same? And can I take the 10th component and invest in something else, which is going to give me another 10x? So you got to be smart with your financial management stuff. Okay, and the final point on this is your sentiments and attitudes towards your organization. Okay, and I have a very personal attachment to this one, because when I worked in a big company, someone pays me and I just go in every day, do my work, get my pay at the end of the month, and I come back. So I also have seen staff or colleagues, ex-colleagues, who feels like, hey, can you come on a Saturday? Our boss is coming down. We need to probably have a meeting with him. Oh, they are not paying me for coming back to work on Saturday. Or why do I need to spend my Sunday working on this or that? So the attachment is really not there. I'm just saying, not everybody are like that. There's some people who are like that. Like they are very calculative. They come in, they clock in at 9 a.m. and they clock out at 6 p.m. That's how they are. They work towards the salary they are being offered. They don't work an inch more, a minute more, a second more. I'll say this, and that makes a difference, because for some companies, like even small, medium companies or startup companies, it's very different. The CEOs are very, very close with the business. Their heart and soul is attached to the business. They work late hours. They have this passion for what they do, and this is very important. I'm not saying that you have to own the business, but I'm saying that whether you're working on a small company or a big company, the sentiments and attitude towards your organization and what you have to offer plays a major part. It's not just the responsibility of the bosses, but I think as employees or management level, whatever role that you're playing today, I think that plays a big part, and that's the first part of what makes how are you positioned and what are you doing to grow. Customers can feel you, and this is very important. So far, so good. Deej, all good?
Absolutely,
Absolutely,
absolutely.
absolutely.
I'm
I'm
just
immersed
immersed in
in
what you're
what
saying
you're
and
saying
taking
and
notes.
taking notes.
Thank you. Okay, let's move on to the second one. Okay, so before we move on to the second point, let me just give you some tools on how you can actually evaluate whether you are positioned, well. Yeah. So this is my favorite tool, and I share this a lot with my customers and clients. And this audit tool kind of covers a lot of what I spoke about in step one. So it starts with relevancy score to your industry, market, and customers, strength of your solutions offered. So if you see on the right hand side, the status is really about, it's like a traffic light system, right? So green means very good. Yellow means you have some points or some areas that you need to fix on. And red means, okay, it's alarming. It's like a red zone. You really need to focus on that. So that's what it means. And so it starts with relevancy, and then it's talk about your strength of your solutions, strength of your partners and channels, your go to market model and strategies, your internal culture, whether it's aligned to achieving customer success. And let me tell you one thing about this is like there was one company that I was working with on a consulting, and they were like revenue driven. It's a sales organization, which is not a problem. But the thing is, when you how much, what is your culture, how is the value system, if you're talking about money first or is it about customer first. Like if someone is going to sit down there and I want to achieve my target, and kind of pressurizes the customer and give them a very aggressive tone to like, hey, do you want to sign up now, or do you want to buy now, or where can I, when can I call you back, you got to know, or you got to feel how your customers would feel of you and your brand. So it's all about, have you got your internal value system and culture aligned for customer first. I think that's point number 5. Then you have to also look at your strength against top 3 competitors, leadership and CEO competence, management competence, because these two needs to work together. When I say when I say it needs to work together, just imagine if your manager is great, but your CEO is like, oh my God, I probably need a replacement. Or your CEO is great, but he doesn't have a very good supporting system to help him grow. I have been in that role before. Like I have a lot of things that I want to achieve, but I didn't have the right people to help me out. So any of this may cripple your progress as well, yeah, for growth or success. And then people, talent profiles, how are your HR, compensation, and performance management strategy and practices working out for you? We are living in a world where, I'm not saying everybody again, but I know for a fact that company, or there are individuals, with $100 difference, they don't mind, switching to another company. That's how it is. So and there are companies where people come in on first day and they have no clue what to do for the first week. They don't have an onboarding system, they don't know what's going on, even so there are different things that makes a company successful. Next is tech systems and tools, operations, your strength of demand and marketing engine, demand generation, marketing engine, your sales engine, your internal practices and processes, right measurement dashboards. Do you know what you're doing? Are you tracking what you're doing? Do you know what you need to do to fix some of these issues? And ease of conducting business with you is very, very important. You may have everything green, but you make it so difficult for someone to transact with you, the customer is not going to work with you. Okay, and I've seen this because I've had clients come to me just because of the flexibility, and because I'm willing to listen to them and I'm willing to be flexible with them. When I say flexible, it could be like, if big companies may say, hey, we have a 60-day payment policy, okay, for services, or we have this policy, we have that procurement policy, we only do it this way, we only do it that way, and it's like so difficult for the customers. Customers are looking for things like it's easy for them, to conduct business with you. So ease of conducting business with you is very, very important. And I think this tool will be very helpful for you to on the first part of the topic that I just talked about. Okay, let's move on to the next stage. The second point. The second point is your demand generation engine. Okay, not rocket science again, but it's important because if you don't have this right, you're not going to get the pipeline that you desire for you to achieve your numbers. Okay, focus and strategy. Okay, how is this going to help me? Well, it is because what are you, first of all, what are the industry you're playing in? Who are your customers that you're serving? What do you have to offer to them that's different from the others? And then the channels and the tactics, that you choose to play or choose to, market your products and stuff. Like one of my favorites was somebody was saying that, oh, digital marketing is everything. Yes, digital marketing is everything, but it's more for a low cost, high ROI or high results kind of the reach that we're looking for. But I can tell you what I did. I did a pure branding play, which was very different from what others did. I had a bit of digital presence, but I had a bit of pure branding play. And that helped me a lot to gain the kind of confidence and the kind of impression that I wanted to make at the top level before the reach that happens naturally. So the channels, the tactic, your focus and your strategy is very important in your demand generation engine. Your pre-sales and marketing engine, it is all tied together. When I say pre-sales and marketing engine, it talks about the online system, right? The online sales that people are focusing on, because traditionally, someone goes hunt in the field, get deals back. Someone does active prospecting and brings the deal back. You have people coming in through inbound channels, doing inbound inquiry and converting into leads. And now in this era, we have seen the boom of e-commerce, and there's a lot of online sales system that's being instead of indirect channels, there's a lot of direct channels through online sales that's happening. And the final one on this will be the response and speed to market. That's very important because aging leads or even something that you want to do, if it takes ages, is not going to be beneficial for you. And I'm a victim of this. I take ages to think about something, I want to do something, but I can't do it immediately. And by the time I think about it, talk about it, it happens. It's good to talk about. I mean, it's easy to teach people, but it's so difficult for me to even do it. So the reason why I'm telling you this is it may look as if, hey, what's new? There's nothing different, but I can tell you that if you look at each of this carefully, if you go to the depth of it, it can be another half an hour or 1 hour talk just for each individual of points on this. So response and speed to market is very important. Okay, if you're not going to do it, somebody is going to, when you wake up next morning, somebody is going to do it. That's it. Okay, and same like what the organizational tool that we had, we also have a marketing performance audit tool. So it talks about, it tracks the effectiveness of your marketing strategies, how well do you know your customer personas, as in like your current situation, your defined personas, and the kind of future kind of customer personas that you want to ideally attract to your company, the choice of channels and tactics, how aligned is your channels and tactics to the desired personas and objectives, your marketing message to the business goal and sales go-to-market strategy, strength of inbound lead engine, your content and creative, your online presence, and other tactical stuff like your keywords, SEOs, execution excellence, your social listening engine and systems. How proactive are you to market response, your demand generation campaigns, your investment in hiring and management of marketing talents, and integration of your marketing to all the different part of corporate functions, and clarity of your sales and marketing numbers. Now, let me come to that point number 15. I have a very interesting customer case study to share. So I was consulting with this insurance company, and it was funny, so So I was doing an audit on the sales function. So it was great. They actually had this website where people can click on, and the leads will have to come to the sales guys, and then they have to answer the um, calls and handle the calls. So I was auditing that, and it's like great. It came, and within 2 minutes, there was this salesperson who called me, and I was happy that, oh wow, fantastic, they called me. And then, but what I did was I chose not to pick up the call and let it become a missed call. It became a missed call, and soon after I received an SMS. Wow, I was like impressed. Wow, okay, you don't answer, they send you an SMS. So I tried calling the SMS, the number that was displayed in the SMS, and it went to their mail room. So this is how where it started. Then it went to the mail room, and the auntie has no clue who called me from the company. And then I insisted, but she didn't, and she gave me the customer service number. So I called the customer service. They don't have a system where they can look up to my mobile number and check who called me last. And I had to insist. If it was a normal customer scenario, they would have just laughed. They say, oh, okay, you don't know who called. Okay, no problem. They will just put it on the phone. But because I know that, because I was doing the audit, I just wanted to check what happens with the process flow. So what really happened was the sales, the marketing guys actually had this inbound inquiry system. It was great that they thought about the SMS system, but the number was not corrected because of the technical, I don't know, something happened in the back end where the number got mixed up. Nobody checked. So the quality assurance system didn't work. And then the call center was not informed of this. So they didn't know who called, and their system was not on par to really serve the customers who were calling. So what I'm trying to say is integration of your marketing campaigns or whatever that you're trying to do, make sure that all your other corporate functions are integrated and they are aware as well. Okay, it's a small company is easy, but when it comes to big company, it's very complex, to work across divisions. So this is something that you can spot on. And I know we have a bit of time crunch here, so I'm going to quickly go through some of these points. Okay, and the third point would be your sales engine, not rocket science, but what happens here is, if you can see, now the funnel looks like an hourglass. Okay, a lot of people when they start talking about sales, they always focus on the top part of the funnel. But what happened really is you got to flip the funnel, and that's where it becomes like an hourglass. And I'll quickly go through this. In your sales engine, of course, your sales process is important. The efficiency and productivity of your sales team is important. That goes into another big area of topic of sales AI, which I won't be able to cover today, but we will definitely have another session if we need to. And then we talk about sales and partner operations engine, because if you have an indirect channel engine that you want to operate on, I think that whole ecosystem is a big topic on its own, channel sales. Okay, so that's a big part of operations element that you need to look at. The engagement and the value that you bring into the whole ecosystem of partnership, including your sales staff, and the speed to close, as I mentioned. And some of this business that you do through, some of the run rate business that you get from your online sales or your top end on the funnel and stuff, which will result to renewals, are great. But these are the fourth element that you need to look at. That's your post-sales customer excellence and engagement. What are the kind of account growth strategy that you have, and what kind of engagement strategy you have? Because if you're making year-on-year $1 million or $10 million, the kind of things that you do to cross-sell, upsell, value sell, the ability for you to make relationships and look at how you can become partners with your customers and clients, and look at the ability to influence their strategic investment and future scope of growth. That kind of helps them connect with you further and work with you further and probably reinvest in you further. Okay, so these are the four elements. And again, we have a sales performance tool that you can look at. And yeah, so that's all about it for today with the time that we have. And happy to deep dive into each of these different topics if needed in future sessions. Thank you, Dij. I'm done.
Thank you so much. It was a very interesting session for sure. Zeena, I learned a lot of things. I have a small question.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Uh, well, how important is being more human nowadays? I mean, everything is going digital. Even the sales are going digital. What do you think? Is being more human in front of your potential clients a growth hack?
Of course. Of course. So all these different things that we spoke about is all the art and science of doing business and some of the components that needs to happen for the whole business engine to operate, right? But on the other hand, it's all about the human element that makes a person connect with a person and buy from a person. And recently I was in Chicago for this AAISP summit, and it was very interesting. I mean, everybody talk about different things, and Sherin is one of the global sales experts. She came in and she was talking about, hey, do you want to go on a date, do you want to go for a spa, do you want to go on a holiday with your wife, and all this, and everybody were like so excited, right? Everyone would be, right? And then he said, okay, let me now change the conversation to, would you like my features, would you like my software, do you like what I have to offer? And like nobody cares, right? So it's not about what you have to offer, but it's more about being human, understanding that you're dealing with human beings, and be real, be authentic, because um, while we talk about being human, it's about really being authentic and for you how do I put this, like being a trusted partner. It's like it's very, I mean, like a lot of people think that, the moment I show empathy, I show this, that, when I touch and talk, that's all human. Actually, it's not true, because a person can feel another person, whether you care or you're just doing it because you want to have a transactional relationship. People can feel people. So I think being real in a relationship is more important than being human.
That's very interesting. Zina, we have a question. So, the question is, you have shared many points regarding sales, but is there something that I can use in my company to, just give me a second, to engage with my customers and make them buy again and again?
Right. Well, there are definitely things and tools and and guides that can help an individual. But again, it's all about, first of all, believing in your products. And if you believe in your products and you know that this is going to make a difference to the person that you're serving, I think it comes naturally, because the articulation, even though you have a script or a FAQ or whatever that you have to go on and guide a person, sometimes when you are convinced of your product and your company, it comes naturally. You know how to you know the beautiful stuff, the benefits and the features that you can talk. But on the other hand, there's more art, and there's a lot of things that comes into play when you want to like really engage a customer and make them buy from you again and again. And it's not just one pointer, there are many pointers, but we can take this offline, and I'm happy to connect with the person and get into a Skype call and dig a bit deep into that subject.
Okay. Well, we are running out of time. I'll just take one more question.
Mm-hmm.
Zina, can you share something about social media? How can we use social media to growth hack in 2018?
Yeah, so social media, as I initially said during the second point about demand generation, social media, you have a lot of medias coming up. So you got LinkedIn, you got Facebook, you got Twitter, you got you got many like Instagram, Pinterest. There's so many, and definitely for a company that's looking for quicker reach into all this audience and stuff, it's definitely an important component for the business, and it's definitely a important tool. I don't know if I heard the question correctly, but yes, social media is there to live, and we have to embrace it.
All right, great. I think Zina, that ends the webinar. We wanted to keep it short and crisp. And what we'll do is we'll have your email ID on this broadcast, and if somebody would like to discuss it directly with you, they can get in touch with you. And I would like to thank the audience for being here. You've been an amazing audience, and I hope you have got some really good points to take back home. If you're in office, so take back home, and if you're at home, then probably stay at home. So yeah, I mean, so I think the gist of the webinar was, to grow, you have to focus on marketing and sales. It's so what's happening. There's this figure that around 90% of the startups, as well as a few of the SMEs, close in the first 3 years. I think that number has to decrease by focusing on sales and marketing. I think you have a great product already. You have to believe in the product and just start selling. And there are trainers like Zeena who will be assisting you in moving forward aggressively, in your conquest to have a multi-million dollar company, or whatever you dream of. So thank you so much, Zeena. It was great having you at this very interesting webinar. And we're going to have many webinars with you. And again, thank you to the audience for being here, and looking forward to have you again for our next webinar. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah.